This clip is brought to you by VegasWinners.com. Get expert sports betting advice from some of the best handicappers in the world. Head on over to VegasWinners.com and win yourself some money.
Next up, we should talk about our main event. It's Steve Austin in that three-way for the WWF World Title. Kurt Angle and Rob Van Dam are all here. They go 15 minutes and 15 seconds. Meltzer would say Angle, who was supposed to be an odd man out, ended up being the star of the match. There were lots of spots where they do their finishers and the third guy would break it up.
Right.
Van Dam went up for both guys, laid out for the frog splash, but they both moved. So they kept it a mystery who he was going for. Angle with the German on Van Dam and the save, Austin with a stunner on Angle and save, Van Dam with the split-legged moonsault on Austin and save, Angle slam on Van Dam and save, just one false finish after another. Yeah. And that's probably the story you're trying to tell here, right, Jim? That hey, anybody can win this thing.
Yeah, exactly. That they're all three are great performers, all three are stars, and anybody could win at any time. The other thing, when I was talking about this triple threat match early on, when I first started booking them, I wanted to make them elimination matches, as I said, where, you know, and the last man standing won the match. Seemed logical in a fight. The last man standing is the winner. So the other thing I wasn't crazy about was, thought I had in my mind was, you know, all these saves, and then you get into a scenario where the champion doesn't have to be involved in the decision to lose his title. And I always had a little problem with that. I understand it. It's the way of life now. It's the way it goes now. And it gives the champion who loses the title the old proverbial out, protecting the champion. But are we protecting the champion at the sake of getting the new champion over? And I've always been taught that, you know, when you're doing a title change, it's about getting the new champion over. And I don't know that those triple threat matches structured like that did the best job of facilitating that. The rubber meets the road when Austin tries a pile driver on the table on Angle, who flips out of it, and Austin lands hard on the table, but it doesn't break. And somehow Vince McMahon comes out, just like the match before. What do you know? A McMahon comes out. From there, we see a lot of action. McMahon's going to hit Austin hard in the back of the head with a chair, which is going to bust him open. I think he still has that scar to this day. Van Dam hits the frog splash, but Angle recovers and makes the save. Angle hits 5 German suplexes and an Olympic slam on Austin, but now Shane makes the save and knocks Angle out of the ring. Now that leads Vince to attack Shane, and they're rolling all over the announce table. But in the ring, Stone Cold Steve Austin's going to hit Van Dam with the stunner for the pin. Meltzer would say the finish was actually flat after an awesome match because the attention was with the McMahons at the finish and not on the finish itself. After the pay-per-view ended, McMahon got in the ring and raised Angle's hand to a big pop, and then went to raise Van Dam's hand, but Van Dam blew him off. No rating from Meltzer, which is curious, but he did call it awesome. 3-ways are tough. Vince just destroys Austin with that chair shot. You got to go out of your way to see. And it is kind of interesting that the talk, at least in the newsletter, was, oh, Van Dam's cutting guys with the chair. You got to be careful with Van Dam. And then Vince comes down and he busts Austin open, which is just pretty fun. It was a very convoluted finish, Conrad. So many moving parts. It's like, I'll give you this comparison, and I tell young talents this all the time. Pretend or role play that you're a stand-up comedian and you tell a great joke, and before the laughter can start or the crowd can react in whatever reaction they're going to give you, you're on to the second joke. So it don't work. You can listen to any comedian. They're going to tell their joke. They're going to lay out. They're going to get their reaction, whatever it may be. Then they're going to continue to joke number 2. We just didn't have any. There was no time to sell things. It was just boom. It's pop, 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 and I thought it took the story down, watered it down a little bit because those guys had a hell of a match. I mean, they, like you said, they did some really.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe this is real, but we not only got a handicapper, but we got the best ever. So I got to ask, how are you so good at handicapping these games? I mean, 4-0, that's quite a streak already.
Well, let's talk about every pick I've given this year in the NFL as an example. 23-8. Every pick I've given this year. 4 weeks in the bag, 23-8. There's nobody in the country that can match what I do, but I always make sure, because anybody, Conrad, could make up anything. They could tell you and blow smoke and tell you, oh, I'm the greatest. But I am independently monitored and documented, so nobody could ever question what I say and go, I don't believe it. I send every pick to an independent monitoring and documentation service that has to get the pick before the game goes off and then publishes it after the game goes off so anybody can see what I gave. And those picks for the year, every NFL pick so far, 23-8. And I think it's because I do more homework than anybody else. The average guy or gal watching this podcast, they don't have time. They have a career, they have jobs. They might read the newspaper or go online and see something, but they don't have time 80 hours a week to study the games. That's what I do. And I have a crew of guys behind me, my consultants, who every week we get together 3 times a week and they throw their ideas at me. I throw my ideas at them.
Aggressive physical things. They showed off. They got their stuff in. Everybody got some stuff in. But then we overthought it, I think, and overbooked it a little bit there at the end. But that's 20 years ago, so it's still up for debate. I'm sure some people that watched it or will watch it now that we're talking about it may have a different feeling about it. And you should be able to watch it and create your own take on what you saw. And your take is just as good as mine or Conrad's. But I would suggest that you watch this match and you determine if you think it was overbooked at the end.
I like this show. It's tough to put a major pay-per-view together in 2 weeks, and it shows. I mean, I guess the build for this show was a little lackluster, and plans change. But considering the next night on Raw, the invasion is blown up, this is a fun show. And we'll talk about the invasion blowing up some other time. But you watched this show for the first time since it happened, 20 years ago. What did you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle?
I pleasantly remembered it better once watching it, obviously, and I liked it. I liked the show. The crowd was great. The talents all performed well. That's one thing that's kind of universal in Meltzer's assessment of this show, is that he may not have agreed with the creative layout, the creative strategy. But he said in almost every match, the talents had great effort. And as a talent relations guy or a coach type person, the great effort is essential. And I thought that was kind of cool. Great effort all the way down the card. But it's easy to go back in time and say, well, I'd have probably done that differently. And I think maybe if Vince is looking at it again,
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.